Hey everybody, it's the top of the hour, and of course around here, you know, that just means that you've got a couple more minutes to get some snacks, get something to drink, get all comfy cozy, share out the link with your friends and family not already in the stream, because the Suzette Veneti show will begin in about 2.5 minutes. Welcome to the Virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the Suzette Veneti show. Please welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hi everybody, it's 5:04, so my bad. Welcome to the Suzette Veneti show. It's Sunday, May 2nd. Okay, I got that right, cool. If you have Cinco de Mayo plans, make sure you have them, but also make sure you're wearing a mask. Let's not do this again a whole nother year, okay? Thanks, great. Cool, let's start the show. Welcome, and I hope you're having a good Sunday. Republicans are at President Biden's speech noticeably refused to clap or stand for things like ending child hunger, healthcare for Americans, puppies being cute, pizza being delicious, and so on. Republicans exiting said that they would have clapped for disparaging remarks about women, those videos ESPN used to show of football players leading tackles with their helmets, and credit card companies charging customers outrageous interest rates. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert live-tweeted during President Biden's speech, complaining the whole time and shaking her head at very reasonable suggestions for gun control. Boebert actually owns a restaurant in Rifle, Colorado, called Shooters, where guests and employees are encouraged to come to work with loaded firearms. A restaurant in Rifle, Colorado, called Shooters, where they want patrons and employees to show up with guns in hand. Things are going to get really ugly the first time someone asks for ranch, and they don't get ranch. They get blue cheese instead. I just know it. Tim Scott quickly grabbed the baton from Candace Owens by grabbing all the airtime he could to rebut President Biden's speech. Senator Smith of South Carolina said that Biden seemed like a nice guy, but since he's a Republican senator, Senator Smith said that he really needs government with more racism and misogyny. Matt Gaetz paid for sex with minors, something the Republicans in Congress actually could stand and clap for. U.S. representative from Florida allegedly made payments to multiple women, including a 17-year-old girl, using Venmo and Cash App. So Gaetz, who clearly doesn't understand discretion and the concept of not leaving a paper trail, made electronic payments for sex. And how do we know this? The text on the Venmo payments. You know, you have to put something in that, you can't just leave it blank. And Gaetz put peach, eggplant, water squirty. So why would he do that? Adam Sandler was in the news for going to an IHOP after he was told that there was a 30-minute wait. He left. While the internet is applauding Sandler for not using his celebrity status to bypass the 30-minute wait, the employee who didn't recognize him is getting teased by his friends for not recognizing the star. When told who he did not recognize, the host from the restaurant said, "The guy from Hubie Halloween? Has he been in anything else ever?" Being old sucks. Pine Valley Golf Club, the #1 golf course in the country, changed its bylaws this past week and took gender out of the rules to allow women to play the course anytime. Previously, women were relegated to playing only on Sundays. The course spokesperson said that they wanted to be on the right side of history, which is a weird thing to say about a golf course that discriminated against women for 107 years. Congressional Republicans misheard the news, thinking that the club was instituting a new ban on women playing on the course, and they finally stood up and clapped. Medina Spirit won the 147th Kentucky Derby. Look, here's the thing. They say that the horses are treated well, but I don't know. Maybe they're not. And I just think if anyone wants to wear big hats on, the weekend and get day drunk, and you want to see beautiful, tall creatures with fabulous hair, go to drag brunch. Way more fun than the Kentucky Derby. And I'll ask my bartenders to make mint juleps so everybody wins, because I'd like to try one. Anyway, that's the monologue. Thank you for sitting through it. I am going to bring on, I have an in-studio guest, so as per what we always do, I'm going to bring them on screen right now, and we'll get to meet them a little more later. But hello, Jake Bradley-Rowe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. You're here to talk about Sunburst, which is a charity.
A local charity here in Sacramento. We've been around for since 1988, and we provide HIV services to women, children, and men who are HIV positive in Sacramento.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring on my first contributor, and you're welcome and free to talk at any time. I just want to tell the viewers that you laughed a couple times during the monologue.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you. It's really weird to do jokes with no one. You're like, oh, they're all failing. I have a contributor who tells me all that, so we're good. But first, we're going to go to my first contributor. He's taken a 2-3 week break, and I'm excited to have him back because no one's been spilling any tea. So please, without further ado, join me in welcoming to the show one of my friends, a great follow, Clifton Ellison.
Hey, Suzette, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm good. Every time I take time off, that's when the girls want to act up. Every time I take time off, they act up. And then when I'm here, silence, crickets. But then when I go away, Caitlin wants to run for governor. And then we got drag race girls wanting to fight. And then we got Janet Mock wanting to cuss out Ryan Murphy. It's so much going on. So where do we begin first? So have you been caught up with Drag Race and everything yet?
Yes.
This current season? Okay,
yes.
So Simone won. Congratulations to her.
Yes, congratulations.
Now there is the girls are fighting. So Tamisha Iman, who was a contestant on this past season, she was battling some health issues. She was supposed to be on season 12, but then she didn't make it because her cancer came back. and then she came on to season 13 and didn't inform anybody that she had a you know how when people have illnesses, they have the pouch on them. Yeah, so she had the pouch. I didn't even know that. I mean, sis is a phenomenal queen. She has been in the industry for over 30 years. If you ever seen that video with the drag queen that does I Need a Hero and comes down from the ceiling?
Yes.
That's one of her drag children. Tamisha has a huge legacy in Atlanta. She has won multiple titles. She is the moment, you know. So basically, Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange, who are two former winners of Drag Race, they have a YouTube and podcast called Sibling Rivalry. And every week they talk about Drag Race, and they talk about the looks and everything like that, you know, kind of like how we do. And some of the comments that Monet was saying about Tamisha was a little like, okay, girl, like, you're kind of going a little bit to the jugular. And, you know, Tamisha was quiet the whole time, and everything like that. Probably was quiet because she didn't want to fuck up her check, which I understand. But, you know, the show is over now, so she's ready to talk back. And so she posted a video on Instagram Live, basically replaying everything that they have said about her. Like, they were talking about her look, talking about just everything. And some of the comments, even I was just like, damn, that was really kind of a little too in the jugular. And Tamisha made a valid point. She said, how are you going to talk about me when I sew everything? I make all my looks. I do everything myself. I don't rely on designers. I don't rely on people bringing me things. But she said, and Monet, before you even got money, you was on the runway in the damn sponges, and you was relying on them sponges multiple times. You're familiar with the sponge look, right, Suzette?
I am familiar with the sponge look. Okay,
it was not cute. Like it was a kiki, but it was not couture.
Right.
But you know, and she brought up a valid point that especially with the Black RuPaul's Drag Race contestants, there seems to be two sides of that spectrum. There seems to be the ones that we see all the time, like Monet, Bob, Latrice. There's quite a few that we see all the time. Then there are the ones that we never hear from again, like Jasmine Masters. There's quite a few other ones that we don't ever hear again. And it's either they don't play by the Hollywood game, they don't kiss ass, they don't, you know, they don't play the politics game. And basically Tamisha told Monet, hey girl, I got a show coming out on Tuesday that is not produced by World of Wonder. It is produced by me, and we will be bringing you to the carpet. And I was just like, ooh. So Tuesday, it might be a dragging. So, you know, if I was Monet Exchange, I would put on my witness protection wig and I would just sit quietly and try to hope and pray that somebody else does something worse, that we forget about what dragging is coming in 3 days. Because if Tamisha Iman said she was coming for me, I would start praying. That's like, think of like Taryn and like 4 other people reading you and you know it's coming, and just that anticipation. Wouldn't that make you anxious?
Oh, yeah. And,
yeah.
And Jake knows Taryn.
It's the battle of the old school versus the new school, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And, you know, these new girls, they don't, like, you know, they get on Instagram and they get the people, they get the sponsors and they get the designers. And it's just like, you know, you don't know how to sew. You don't know how to make your own shit. Mm. You have not competed in pageants. You have not done fundraisers. You get on Instagram and you think that because you get all these followers and you have Marco designing your shit, that you are just that bitch. And it's just like, honey, you have not paid your dues. So I'm ready to see what Tamisha's going to say on Tuesday. So I noticed that there is already starting to become a little bit of damage control on the other side. On Twitter, I started to see like these video compilations that Bob the drag queen's fan bases have posted of Monet saying positive things. We'd be like little bitty snippets of positive things, and I'm just like, girl, we'll see on Tuesday. Are you familiar with Pose?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the season premieres tonight. So actually, once I'm done, I am jumping off because I gotta catch up on my shit before it starts. But so the season premiere of the final season of Pose is tonight, and they had a premiere party in New York last week, a couple days ago. And Janet Mock, who we all know is one of the best trans activists out there, she is a writer and a producer on the show. I don't know if she had some booze in her system or what, but Miss Girl had a lot to say at that premiere party. She brought Ryan Murphy to the carpet and basically let him know that he did not bring the girls into the show. She brought the girls into the show. He was not bringing the authenticity that the show has. She brought the authenticity that the show has. And she was mentioning how the pay discrepancy. Why are they only getting paid $50,000 an episode, whereas other people are getting paid a lot more? And also, she was in a relationship with the gentleman that plays Little Poppy on the show. His name's Angel. Mm-hmm. And I guess she cheated on him with another cast member. It was a lot. And I don't know if they signed NDAs or if they scrubbed everybody's phones, but I have been searching high and low, Suzette, for the last 3 days for video footage of that confrontation. I have not found it yet, but Page Six has it. So I guess if Page Six has it and other people have been talking about it, I guess it happened, but I just find it very odd that there is no footage of this whatsoever anywhere. But I get exactly where Janet Mock was coming from, because especially as a Black person, we always have to kind of hold ourselves to like a higher decor just to be seen by the mainstream media. And it's just like, you know, we bite our tongue, and then eventually you're just tired of having to work twice as hard to get half as much. So honestly, I get it. I'm not mad at it. And I mean, it's the last season. The show's already filmed. So what they're going to do, fire her, you know?
Yeah.
But I just hope and pray that that doesn't blackball her from the entire industry, because you know how Hollywood can be. You know, you speak out and doors get closed.
And I don't want to say this and seem like I'm insensitive or like I'm blowing it off as though I don't understand the depth of the problematic nature of it all. But it seems like with everything in the world that's happening over the last 2 years, it seems like they're making some headway into that whole, like, the casting couch doesn't exist anymore, or they're trying to make it not exist anymore, and they're trying to get more representation into shows and onto network television. It's not happening yet, you know, and I talked to, I don't know if you remember Steph Sanders, I had him on the show, and we talked about this a little bit, but my hope is that it you know, it's little by little, but, you know, if you keep putting bricks on top of bricks on top of bricks, then you have a brick house. So.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't want to get away from that topic, but I wanted to say what you talked about with the Queens on Drag Race, not putting in the free gigs, the fundraising, the, you know, pageant work, the working on things for low pay, learning how to sew, learning how to do hair, learning how to perform truly. You should watch last week's episode with me and Miss Deja Sky, because we talked a good long time about all this, because there are a lot of queens nowadays who are like, oh, I have 1,000 followers, where's my show? And it's like, your show's on your Instagram, baby. That's where your show is, because that's what you got.
Or some of them, your show's in your head, but you know.
Look, I can't sew, and Lord knows I don't do hair, but there are other aspects. So I think you might find me and Deja and my conversation interesting.
I'm gonna have to check that out. You know, it's this Lord Jesus, these last 2 weeks have been a lot. Between, of course, I took the 1 week off because I had to watch my WrestleMania. I wasn't missing that for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Arden, which is where I'm at right now. Girl. So we moved in. The move-in date was set for one day. Then the bitch called us up and was like, "Can you guys move in on Monday?" No. I took time off of work. I rearranged everything to come in on this day. And then there was issues that had to get fixed, something like that. It was just a hot ass mess. So basically, I had to use my Karen from finance voice to get a couple $100 taken off my rent so they can get this shit fixed. And yeah, so besides that, everything's cool. I'm just not used to living around children again because I've lived around children for over 10 years. And now I see the plight of parents because bless parents' heart. Bless y'all. Bless y'all. Because I couldn't do it. Like the lady next door, let me talk a little lower because the walls are maybe thin, but she walked out looking like, get me away from these kids. And, they're crying, they're screaming, they're running around, everything like that. And it's weird because I'm so used to crackheads, brew bikes, and everything else from Midtown, but living around children, it's taken some time to get used to.
Sir, I just want to say that when you say you're used to living around crackheads, we used to be neighbors. So
not you. I'm talking about the one that used to come into the alleyway at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh no, I know him. Yeah, no, that's my friend. That's my friend because he made sure I was awake for brunch. Like, Suzette, did you fall asleep at 2:30? Not anymore. Not anymore. You didn't. But if you want to commend parents, you should just go ahead and say it to Chelsea because she is one of those parents.
No, Chelsea, I commend you because I couldn't do it. I don't have the patience. I don't have the tenacity. I don't have the nerve. I just couldn't do it. And I'm really thankful that gay sex cannot create children because I feel like I have a whole lot of illegitimates running around Sacramento.
Yet.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Medical science advances every day.
And they can keep that science themselves. I don't want it. I don't need it. My checking account can't handle it. My patients can't handle it. So no.
I made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the other day for Sean, who collects our tips at Drag Brunch, and Michael, the barback who always works Drag Brunch. And I said, look, I will make you guys sandwiches, and I will bring them in little baggies, but I'm nobody's mom, so I'm not cutting crust.
Oh, no, you better eat the crust or just eat around it, cutting it off. You're setting a high bar that sometimes cannot be attained.
No, I was establishing that the crust was going to be there, and there's no option. You could pull it off. I don't care. I'm not cutting it.
Cutting the crust off. I wish I did ask my mom to do that. My mom would look at me like I was crazy. Cut the crust off.
That's how I would have looked at them. I'm going to need you to come to brunch. I'm going to tell you when. I mean, you can come anytime you want, but I got something really, really good planned.
Oh yeah, let me know because I'm now that the dust has settled from all this, I can actually come and enjoy Sundays again.
Okay.
Who else was acting up? Oh, speaking of Caitlyn.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Who asked for this? I didn't ask for this. Did you ask for this?
No, nobody asked for this. That was in my monologue joke last week was Caitlyn Jenner's running for governor just to prove that Gavin Newsom's not the least likable candidate.
I'm probably going to catch shit for this.
Go ahead.
Whatever. I don't understand the anger towards him because this is something that none of us have gone through before. Like we don't have global pandemic training. Like this was kind of like learning on the fly.
Oh, I can explain it. It's really easy. You know when like a kid has divorced parents or like the dad is like gone or the mom's gone. One of the parents are gone, just gone, right? And the kid grows up with the one parent. Now the one parent is always the bad guy because they're the one that's punishing. They're the one reprimanding. They're the one with the rules. They're also the one loving. They're also the one giving. They're also the one working multiple jobs and buying things, you know, for the kid and not themselves, and working so hard. But the kid doesn't see all that. The kid just feels the punishment. The kid feels the rules. And so the kid always romanticizes the parent that's not there. I miss my dad because my dad wouldn't punish me. Your dad, like, he would punish you. He wouldn't care, maybe, and that's the thing. So that's what happened here with Gavin Newsom. Everyone's mad at the parent that's here with rules that are trying to protect us, instead of just appreciating that we have somebody here trying to protect us.
Exactly. And look, we got the lowest numbers in the country, and there was a time when we were up there. You know, now we're down here. So it's just like, that should speak volumes. And y'all want to elect some bitch from Calabasas that got away with murder?
I mean, I don't know who's gonna vote for Caitlyn Jenner. I'd be very surprised if anybody did.
In Calabasas, girl.
Kanye
Stay there
might.
and collect. You know, they keep replaying the Kardashians. You get some. I know she's getting some coins from that, unless Chris is taking that too. But you know, like, just sit down and shut up and collect your checks and live your retired life away from everybody. Like, we don't want it. We don't want it. And one last thing before I let you go. You know, I love Ratchet television. And there is a new show that is probably one of the most gutter but ratchet television shows I've ever seen in my life. But even my mom watched it, because I don't know if it's because we're all home still or what. But so I don't know if you're familiar with Love and Hip Hop. There was a cast member on there. Her name was Jocelyn Hernandez. She got her own show called Jocelyn's Cabaret, which is basically, think of a hood burlesque mixed with Bad Girls Club. She's basically hiring girls to dance at her strip club, but she calls it a cabaret. And it's just the delusions of these girls and the drama and the fights and everything like that. It's just so much. So she's auditioning the girls, and they're in line, and one of the girls crying, and she's all like, I just, you know, I come from the gutter, and I just want to take this opportunity, and I did so much to get here. You know, I had to get an abortion. I had twins, and I aborted twins. And then literally one of the girls standing behind her, right after she said, I aborted twins, she said, damn, double homicide. And it was just, it was just one of those moments where it's just like, is this really what's going on television?
Yes.
So anyways, Jocelyn was promoting her show on Wendy Williams, and basically right when Wendy Williams starts talking, Jocelyn is like, you don't give me the flowers that I deserve. I did so much for reality television and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it got so bad to where the point where Wendy just grabbed the flowers off of her desk, threw them at the screen, and was like, here are your flowers. Here are your flowers. And it was just so bad, Suzette. But it reminded me, it kind of goes back to the delusions of queens and everything like that. Like, these people, they'll think that they have such an impact when really it's just like, do you? Or are you just inflated off of Instagram?
Okay, we're going to talk later on Messenger off screen.
Oh,
because I got some tea about all that.
Well, I can't wait for that. I really can't think of anything else. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm getting old, and I promise you I have not ingested these yet. I wait until after the show to ingest these now.
Okay.
But the woman from the woman that was on Steel Magnolias,
Olympia Dukakis.
Yes.
Jake.
May she rest in peace. She just passed away yesterday. And that was one of the moments that I was just like, you know what? I'm going to watch Steel Magnolias. And that movie still holds to this day. Just the timing and everything was just, you know how when you see a performance, you're just like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
That's the standard. She was the standard, so she will be missed. Was there anything else that happened this week?
Go watch Moonstruck. See what she won her Oscar for. Watch her and share.
Will.
It's amazing. Snap out of it.
Out of it. But well, thank you so much for having me, Suzette.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. We missed you.
I missed you too. I promised you I will not move and watch WrestleMania and be gone for 2 weeks in a row again.
Okay.
Ooh, Chelsea's giving me shade, but bitch, don't do me.
Well, she missed you too, and that's what she does.
Aww.
Okay. Well, thank you, Clifton. It was so great to have you back, and I will see you soon, and we'll talk sooner. You have to remember, because you know
I can't wait to hear this
I'm gonna fall asleep, but remind me.
I'll remind you. I'm gonna remind you literally right now. After I'm done, I'm gonna text you like, tell me the tea when you're done. So
Deal. I'm gonna ignore it so I see it later.
All right. I love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye. Okay, peers and queers. That was Clifton Ellison. His information was below him. Follow him. Send him some coin. Artists out here in the world during the pandemic, just bringing you content. Right above my pretty little head is the information for Stab Comedy Theater. So you can send them some coin. You can give them a follow. Can't remember which way it is, so I might have pointed at that backward. And if I didn't, I should have said anything. But give it a follow. Send some coin. We're doing our best to bring you stuff that you can enjoy. Anyway, with that, someone who always brings stuff that you can enjoy. She is a hurricane of energy, a tidal wave of emotion. That sounds misogynistic. I don't like that. Let's rewind. She's a hurricane of energy, and one of her favorite things to do is to tell me everything I do wrong, which we're going to hear about this intro really quick. Give it up for one of my favorite people, Chelsea Bearce.
Oh, my God.
I know. I tried.
Hey, bitch. What's up?
How are you?
So good. How are you?
Feeling pretty good. Actually,
I literally woke up from a nap and I was like, oh, shit, I gotta go do this show. Like, that's literally what just happened. Like, that, see? Clifton did the same thing, see? Yes. So, you're welcome for me being here. I
Thank
could be
you.
on my couch.
Thank you for being here.
I am binging. I did the thing. I fucking bit the bullet and I got Discovery Plus, and now I am done. Like, excuse me. All of the 90-Day Fiance shit that I can, like, I can't with 90 Day Fiance. There's so many episodes that I have missed out. And now it's like, watch them in quarantine. And now watch them go into their kitchen. And now watch them warming up their car. Like, I mean, it's like, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. And I'm also on Sister Wives. Oh, and I'm like, I am deep in Sister Wives because there was seasons that I missed out on that were not on Hulu, but they're sure on Discovery Plus. And I did upgrade to the no commercials because it's just ruined all of my life. Don't waste any fucking time. I want all of it at all times. And it's trash. Like Clifton was talking about watching ratchet TV. I watch garbage. Like, no one watches this. There's no script. There's no storyline. Nothing. I'm literally watching people live their lives. But if I watch garbage TV of ratchet people living their lives and I know that I'm doing better than them, somehow I win. Like, I don't know how, but somehow I win. So that was me today because I was celebrating. Today was my cheat day and I celebrated, okay? Because I've been counting calories. I've been upping my water intake by like 300%. It's dumb how much water I drink now. I have lost 10 pounds.
Hey.
And I feel amazing. So today I met a friend of mine who asked me to go to brunch. I'm sorry I didn't make it to your brunch. That's okay. But I went to brunch that was a mile from my house. So
that's
that I could
a lot
get home
easier.
safely.
Yeah.
So I could get home safely. And I did. I went to brunch and even on my cheat day, I still remained in my calories. Like, I can't even cheat right. Like, it's like, so I'm still good. Right. But I did have like one too many mimosas and I went right to sleep. And that was great. It was good. It was great. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
Feeling pretty good. Comedy is coming back. I did a weekend of comedy at a winery 2 weeks ago. Okay. When I missed your show. It was great. I did Punchline in Sacramento. They I hosted their show because they're open now. They're coming back.
Yes, they are.
You're having a show.
Yeah,
there.
well, yes, I am. I am having a show and you are headlining.
That is true. I will be there. Yes. Yeah, that's true.
And-
Clifton, you got to come to that show.
And Bijou Bentley is one person that's booked beside you. So it's gonna be a great show.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. How was brunch today? Let's talk about it. What did you fuck up today? Let's go.
I think today was pretty good. And you know what? You are not gonna watch the whole episode from last week, but somebody that watches every show was like, Chelsea needs to see this because Deja Sky read me down so much that I actually was speechless because I'm not used to people telling me what they see in my soul. Anyway, yeah.
Ooh.
But brunch today. Okay. I did The House of the Rising Sun,
All right.
a cover from The Voice, Hannah Houston, and my look was very Madison Montgomery from American Horror Story, Coven. And then my second number was Dear Future Husband, and you'll like this. I wore a 1950s halter dress with a little white apron over it.
Okay.
And a very
like it.
a very coiffed do.
All right. I don't hate those.
Thank you.
I don't hate those. Yeah.
I'm saving some big guns for when you come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can barely hold my excitement back. I'm very excited.
Well, we're excited for you to come. I talked to Taryn and I was like, Chelsea's gonna be coming soon, and she's like, yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And we should, I guess we should use this time. I have nothing to say today. I thought I had a lot to fucking complain about and talk about, but I don't because I don't have the energy.
It's because you took a nap and you got some of it out. Yeah,
I did. I'm trashed.
Woke
right
up
now.
good vibes.
I just need to go and watch my sister.
What season are they on Sister? Has he left the other three yet and just moved on with Robin?
Will you stop, please? Like, stop. Hold on. I'm on season 15.
What? Why? What? Who watches that? I mean, you do. Never mind. Go on.
Oh, it's made purely for me.
Yeah.
It's purely for me.
Ugh. Okay.
No. Oh, damn it. I had something to say and I don't remember what it was.
You were gonna promote tomorrow.
Oh my God, we should promote tomorrow. Tomorrow, it is a Sacramento drag takeover on my game show called Who Wrote This Shit? So we've got Suzette Veneti, we've got Apple Adams, we've got Bijou Bentley, we've got Taryn Thruyo. I don't remember. We still need what? We still need a contestant?
We need a contestant.
Oh, maybe Clifton. Clifton, what are you doing tomorrow?
Well, I'll ask.
At 6. It's at 6 p.m. It's for 1 hour. You don't have to do anything. It's online. You don't have to do anything except guess who wrote what. That's my whole game show. Yes, do it. I'll message you. We may have just solved the problem right now. So
Okay, cool. I was gonna say we have one of the most preeminent drag queens right on screen with us right now. So I was gonna say we can figure this out between the three of us and come up with some names.
I just fixed it.
I know
right
you did.
now.
I know.
You've been working on this case for 3 days, and I fixed it right now in 11 seconds. So
and that's the difference between us. I
should tell this story though. Is 2 weeks ago, I had to do my game show, Who Wrote This Shit? And I was not gonna make it home because I was driving home from Vegas. And I was driving home from Vegas because I did a weekend of shows in El Paso, and I flew back to Vegas to drive home so that I wouldn't miss my show. And by 1 hour, I was gonna miss my show. So Suzette sends me a message to talk about something else, and I told her my dilemma. This bitch got on the phone and figured out where I was gonna be by the time my show would start, and started calling around to different hotels that had like business, rooms and stuff like that, business centers, and acted like my manager and said that my client needs to be online for a gig. And I ended up doing my show from a Best Western lobby legit because my manager called and set it up for me. What? It was so good. It was so good.
It's almost A-list.
Yeah, I mean, so also I called hotels, Starbucks, and I did a really, really deep search for anything that had an internet connection and would look nice. And then Chelsea, my client, right, my business client, I didn't say what she was in. I just said she has a business meeting. She showed up in her business casual fur coat. Which, what?
It was so over the top. I was like, well, I need to look like someone with a manager. So I grabbed my fur, like a fucking, like, I wasn't thinking. I was exhausted. I had been traveling for 14 hours. So I wasn't thinking. So I was just like, give me this fur. And I walked in. I was like, hi, my manager called. Oh, Chelsea, is that you? Yeah, it is. Yeah, hi.
Well, okay, so see, 14 hours, you were tired, you weren't thinking, and that explains everything about me. No, okay.
What?
I mean, that's everything about, like, always up way too long. Probably had good ideas 30 hours ago, but now we're here, so we're going to wear a fur coat into a lobby.
Right. I like that you take my story and quickly make it about you. That was really, really, that was beautiful how you did that.
Your story wasn't. Your story was about us. I'm looking for common connections so I can just go home and say, yes, Suzette, you can be as good as Chelsea one day.
Oh my gosh, relax. Get out of here. Oh my God. No, so I don't know. I haven't been here. What? I missed last week, so I haven't been here for a week. But no, it was. I'm doing okay. My cake business is like fucking soaring right now. It's insane because things are starting to open up, so people are just like losing their minds. Like, we need cake, we need cake, we need cake, we need cake. And so my cake business is taking off like crazy, which is great because now I'm in a position where I can actually pick and choose and say no to jobs, which is a really good feeling.
Yeah.
And then because comedy's coming back and things are starting to open up that way, it's like my calendar's getting so full. But I'm one of those people who, if my calendar's not full, I'll figure out a way to fill it. Like I'll give myself jobs to do. I'll work on projects. And weirdly get paid for all of it, and then like I'll figure it out, you know what I mean? But now it's like legitimate jobs and gigs and stuff are coming up, which is really, really exciting. I think my biggest fear, and we spoke about this prior. I think my biggest fear is everything opening up and people jumping back into everything way too fast,
right? And
just throwing all caution to the wind. That's my fear. I really don't want us to have gotten to this point as far as we have since the pandemic was introduced. And I really don't want to go back to square one and then just be fucked all over again. You know what I mean? So I was really on the fence of how I felt about the vaccine. And since then, I have gotten the first dose of Pfizer. So I'm on the road to vaccination land. But I'm wary because people are so reactionary with a lot of things, and the vaccine, that's not an exception. People see this vaccine and they're like, no, look, I have my card. No, I had both shots. And then they're like, they just go to a crowded bar and there's no masks and there's nuts in a bowl or whatever, and I'm just like, what's happening right now? Like, that it's not you know what I mean? Yes, it's helping. It's not the fucking golden ticket. Like, it doesn't mean that COVID is gone. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I really have trouble with, because I'm scared that people don't get it. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like condoms, right? Like, only 99% effective. You should still practice other safe habits.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. I'm worried about the speed of things opening up. And not really that either, because if people were still taking it seriously, the speed of things opening up wouldn't even be an issue. But because people just assume that it's you know, free pass to do whatever the fuck they want. It's like, no, that's not what this is. And so it's just, that's the part that is worrisome to me.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like it's like, you know, like it's the whole quote of like, you know, people are smart, you know, or the person is smart, but people are fucking dumb. You know, and it's like, that's the part that's worrisome to me, is you get into a group setting and your excitement for being around people, your excitement for being at a venue, your excitement to see something live takes over anything like that as regards to safety.
Oh, I have a story about this from today at brunch. We had a group of 9. They were white girls. They showed up in wigs. So you're like, this is going to be fun or this is going to be tragic. And they did not have masks. And our lovely door person was like, ladies, you need to have masks. And they were like, we don't need, they said we don't need masks. And I don't know who they was, but I think they meant like the government. And so he gave them masks because we have masks for people that forgot them, even though these ladies didn't forget. They chose not to. Gave them masks, showed them to their table. They then would not wear their masks. They were okay because they're at their table together and you're eating and drinking, so you don't have to. But then very quickly, after the first one started dancing towards the drag queens, towards the stage, which isn't even acceptable outside of COVID. Like, honey, you're not booked. You're not a performer. No one came to see you. I know you're excited. I know you want to dance and have fun, but this isn't the spot. And it was over. It was over. I wanted to be the one, but Taryn got to them first.
And kicked them out?
Oh, yeah.
How far into brunch did they get kicked out?
2 numbers, because they went after my number, so they only made it 2 numbers. Out of 10. And like we were all in the dressing room because it was after my number and I went second, and we're in the dressing room and all of a sudden we heard boo, boo, and I'm like, that's a very odd reaction for a drag show. Like, what is happening? And then we found out that when they were leaving, they were like, well, fuck you guys, we don't need to wear masks. And the crowd was like, no, fuck you guys, you're ruining it for everybody.
Yeah.
So they were gone. It didn't take long, and they were made to wear their masks on the way out.
Well, I'm sure Taryn was very excited. That's her favorite thing to do, huh?
I was like, look,
read the ride.
You always get to do this. Let me try one. But she got him.
Made her week.
Oh yeah, no, she told them all the things. Nice. Yeah, Chelsea, you've seen her tell the things too.
Oh no, I pray that someone heckles me like that in a show, because I will just, especially if I'm on stage at the time, like it's done. Like don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. And hecklers, that's a whole different breed. You know, they want to try to make the show better, or they think that they're helping and blah 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 blah. And it's like, I mean, I almost look at it as like a compliment to me, or to, you know, the performer that's on stage, because if that performer is making it look like they're coming up with the stuff on the spot to the point where they're influencing like layman people to be like, hey, I can do this too, look how easy that person is making it look. It's like, okay, that's a testament to the performer, to the comedian, you know what I mean?
No.
But it doesn't give you the right to like, let me try stand up at this fucking moment. Like, no, absolutely not.
Yes.
No.
And your comedy partner, Miles Weber, at least taught, I don't know if he's currently is teaching it, but he taught a class about this and how to deal with hecklers. I have not had a heckler in 4 years, so I think I'm overdue.
Oh yeah, bitch. And I feel like in like that long,
And
I feel like the heckler that decides to break that record for you is just gonna like send you off the deep end. Like, you'll either crumble or you'll like lose your fucking mind on them, and then they will like cry in a corner. Like, I pray to God that I'm there when that happens.
Oh, it's gonna be look, I host a drag show every week, which is not something a lot of comics do. And there's a lot of things that happen at a drag show, so I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It happens when you least expect it. It's like finding love.
Well, that's not happening for me, so I guess
Like
the
you-
heckling will.
for any of us. Like
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. Like now you're preaching to the choir. Like now you're heckling me. Of
Oh,
course it's
now
not
now
happening
we're
for
the
any of
same.
us.
I see. Now we're the same. Not before, but now we're just
Yes,
pathetically
when we're
eating
talking
ice
about our
cream.
misery and being alone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fuck you. We can be twinsies.
Well, you know what? You know what, client? Like your manager's gonna show up with some ice cream later, and we can just be sad and watch 90 Day Fiance until we go
my
move on
God.
to what's the other one? Triple Wives, Sister Wives,
bitch.
Sister Wives.
Oh my God, you were so right. You were right on target to like spelling out my perfect love language. And then you ruined it with Triple Wives, whatever the hell that is. Get out of here.
That's who that's who Cody should leave so he can just be with Robin. Is what that is.
Oh my God. All right, I'm out of water. I gotta go.
I love
But
you.
This was fun. Love your guts.
Okay,
Have a
message
great
me
show.
about your show. Oh, tomorrow, 6 p.m. on. Just go to WWTS Live on Instagram. The link tree is there. You can find it. It's on YouTube. That's the best place to play. You can see Chelsea. You can see her producing partner, Robbie. You can see all of my drag family basically tearing through you. Apple Adams, me, my good Judy Bijou Bentley competing, and then we'll figure out who she's competing against. Chelsea already figured it out.
It's true. It's a really good time. It's interactive. I pull up answers from the home game, people playing along at home. Very, very fun show. So check it out tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. Who wrote this shit? What else am I doing?
What's his
Am I
name?
doing
Randy,
anything else?
right? Randy, that plays
What,
from home
who?
and he's funny.
Yes,
Yes.
Randy Wade Kelly.
Yes,
Very,
Randy
very
Wade.
funny.
That's what I thought it was. I didn't want to say three names and be wrong because then it sounds like I'm calling out a serial killer. Randy Wade Kelly and he's playing from home tomorrow, so he's going to be really funny.
He's very, very funny. Yes.
From home.
From home. Yes. When he's on screen, he just bombs. It's hilarious. And I'll tell him that to his face. I don't care. But yes, that is that. And then May 23rd, Queens and Comedy is coming back. Punchline.
Yes.
Hosted by the
me.
tragic Suzette Veneti, and I'm gonna headline.
But
It's
headlined
gonna be
by
so fun.
you. Look, so
It's gonna be so fun.
it's a life lesson. The lesson is it gets better.
Right. Yes. We're showing you how progression works.
Right.
Yes.
Tragedy to
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
yes.
This is
to Iggy Azalea.
in
Tragedy
real
to
time.
Iggy Azalea.
All right. I'm leaving.
Love
Bye.
you. Okay. Message me. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Peers and Queers. That was Chelsea Bearce. Watch her on her show tomorrow at 6 p.m. Watch her, me, Taryn, Apple. Watch all of us on her show tomorrow. Who wrote this shit? It's going to be a hoot. Also, Bijou Bentley. Love her. Was excited to compete against her, but I got bumped up. So she's going to have to guess what I say that's funny. And with, and May 23rd, but we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. So without further ado, we're going to get to Jake, who's been here sitting so patiently. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Good.
Holding up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an intro, and then you can tell me if I got it all right. Okay. So with me in studio is Jake Bradley-Rowe, who is currently the... What's your position with Sunburst?
Executive Director.
Executive Director of Sunburst Charities, Sunburst Projects.
You got it.
Which is a charity that helps families with children with HIV or AIDS, because that's a lot for people. And then you're also you're you're off duty, is what they say.
Yeah.
The kids. I'm not young. I'm not as young as I look.
The lashes are at home.
Right. The lashes are at home. Off duty drag queen, Precious Cargo, the People's Empress, the most successful money raising
Pretty close.
year.
Yeah.
I like you're like pretty close. We didn't make it, but pretty close.
We raised a lot of money.
You raised a lot of money. You do a lot of
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And that's what the pin, the brooch, the badge.
This guy. Yeah. You have to like ode a little bit to the drag life everywhere
Right.
you go. So yeah, an Empress pen of mine. Sparkle here, sparkle there. Make sure there's a little twinkle. Going with me makes
Absolutely.
everything better, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you, before we get into anything, and we can circle back because we
Yeah.
can talk about Sunburst, but I would, if there's time and you want to touch on what Clifton was talking about with the queens who are like, oh, look at me, I 500 followers.
Don't get me started.
That's why we'll circle back.
Yeah.
We'll talk charity first.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are here to talk about Sunburst Projects. What, in your words, because I could talk about it, but I'd rather hear you. In your words, what is Sunburst Projects?
Yeah, we are a nonprofit based out of Sacramento. We help women, men, and children living with HIV every day. Our clients are all living below the poverty level. They're all HIV positive. And they come to us for a gamut of different services, from medical case management. We have a full mental health clinic, so psychiatry down to just group therapy or individual therapy. And then we have a bunch of social services that we provide, from transportation vouchers to food card vouchers. We have, thanks to Taryn through you, a phenomenal resource room that has got a full clothing closet for men, women, children, infants. We provide diapers and PPE out of there, and baby formula. So anything our clients need to keep medically adherent, we try to provide. Yeah, they're with us because they need something, and we every day just try to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for them. They already got a big burden, and especially when you have a family. We have some refugee families that are our clients, and there's multiple individuals in those homes that are coming to us for different services, and so we provide where we can. The other thing that we do, which I'd love to talk even more in depth at
Sure.
some point, is about Camp Sunbursts, which is really how we got started. So Sunburst Projects started as a camp for children with cancer, and our founder in 1988 realized that no one was doing anything for pediatric AIDS. And
just to set the scene a little bit, 1988 AIDS was it wasn't like a COVID level. It is interesting, and it is a comparison, because it's a little bit like now the world is seeing what it was like for the gay world in the 80s with AIDS.
Exactly.
It was a pandemic within a community.
Well, we can thank the AIDS epidemic for why we have a vaccine for COVID today. Dr. Fauci is the leading person on HIV and AIDS in the world. And he's spent most of his career since the epidemic working on trying to find a cure for HIV. And the basis that the vaccine was developed for COVID is off of the work that they've done for many years on HIV and trying to find a cure. So there is speculation that cure will come quicker, or that the possibility of stopping the spread because of the work they have put forth on the vaccine
for COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it kind of all ties together. It really kind of parallels itself, right? Like the gay community in the 80s went through what the whole world is going through now.
Right.
And it's interesting to see that, the response from the government in the 80s to the AIDS crisis versus the response that we got today.
Well, and again, just like I mentioned with Clifton, I like to hope that the response is a little better because we've evolved and we've gotten better as a society. But like Chelsea said, a person is smart, people are dumb. A person is nice, and people can be mean.
That's right.
And certainly I can't ask you to speak for an entire community, like the gay community, but do you think, with what you've seen, how do gay people in society now that lived through the AIDS epidemic, how did they respond to the COVID pandemic?
Well, those that are infected with HIV that are still around certainly, I think, have been scared. I mean, they are living with a disease that puts them at high risk. Many of our clients didn't leave their homes for months, Thank goodness they had services like Sunburst to bring food.
I was going to say, if someone doesn't leave their home, what do you guys do for them from Sunburst?
So we're unique as an agency that 70% of our care happens in the field. So we go to our clients. Many of the other HIV service providers in Sacramento provide their service in their offices, but we actually go out into the field. And we meet them there. So during COVID, we slowed down the amount of work we were doing in the field, but we still had staff that were going out and doing therapy in parks, that were meeting people at the front door of their house, dropping off PPE and food. The mental health capacity of everyone living in the United States changed drastically. But those people that are, somewhere on the spectrum of acuity, whether it be moderate or severe, it exploded for them. And those are the clients we really service. So when you're talking about someone who's bipolar or schizophrenic, for them to be locked up alone in their home because they're afraid of what's going on outside of there, and you add that on top of it's a compounded issue. And we just continue to try to be there as an agency to meet the client wherever we could. We have some really, really talented therapists that have been working in the HIV field, in the mental health field or behavioral health field for a long time. And so, they've created relationships with those folks that really need the touch, and they found ways to do that. But we hear all the time, clients that have now gotten vaccinated and are trying to figure out how do they re-enter society as a thriving person after, a year of kind of closing down. And I think so many of us are doing that, but they haven't gone to the grocery store. It's like they've been other than Zoom on the other end, someone on the other end of Zoom, that's kind of been their connection, or us on their porch. So we really were a life string to many of these folks.
And that's amazing. I want to say that first off. So you guys are doing great work, and thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure people say it, but if I can say thank you for some people. How do you guys? Now, I'm sure everyone watching is aware of what a charity is, but how do you get funding to do all this, to go to people's doors and to provide? And you're right. I mean, it's funny because for as long as people have existed, mental health problems have existed. But suddenly in 2020, everyone was like, oh, it's real. It's not just people pretending to be sad.
It can happen to me too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So where do you guys get the funding to provide all these services, the food, the PPE, the counseling, the meds?
In 1992, we became a Ryan White provider. Ryan White was the first comprehensive legislation passed in the federal government to help agencies like ours. It is a chunk of money that is given out to basically every state, and then the state trickles down to the county, and then there's providers. We're a provider of Sacramento County. Every president has supported Ryan White legislation and the CARES money that comes out of there since it went in place in the early 90s. And so we get money from that. That helps pay a lot of our salaries and the services that we provide. But in addition, we do a ton of fundraising. We apply for a lot of grants. We have a very talented grant writer, Diana, who is on our staff, and she every day is working to tell our story a little better and explain why our services should be supported. And so we're always out there, stomping down the streets trying to collect money as wherever we can get it. This week, matter of fact, is a huge giving day in Sacramento, big day of giving, which last year raised, I believe it was over $12 million in a day for about 500 charities locally, and Sunburst takes part in that. And so we have a huge goal of $25,000 on Thursday. So we've started our big push, and if you go to our webpage, you'll see a bunch of videos that all of our staff have done telling, why they want you to support Sunburst and select us. And so on Thursday, hopefully we'll meet our goal, and that'll be another $25,000 that we can use for food vouchers. And specifically this year, we're going to use that money to do camp, so Camp Sunburst, for those kids that never get to experience summer camp, but because of Camp Sunburst, they do.
So you said that's where Sunburst started, was with Camp Sunburst.
Yeah.
So tell me about Camp Sunburst.
So in 1988, we transitioned from a camp for children with cancer to a camp for kids with HIV. And since then, every year, it's a week-long therapeutic-based summer camp that's free for anyone who is affected or infected by HIV in California. The camp has gone on to be a model that's used all over the world. There's camps in Africa that have been modeled after what we created with Camp Sunburst. But our camp takes place in the Bay Area, just in the hills above Livermore, and the kids go for a week, and they get to let the issues and the worries of every day kind of go. They don't have to remember to take their medication because there's a nurse there. A lot of these kids, they show up with the same clothes that we sent them home with the year before. As I said, our clients all live pretty much in poverty, so they're below the federal poverty level, and many of them, we give them a new pair of shoes each year, and that's the new pair that they have. And so that can be difficult for kids because they grow. Yeah, so absolutely. It's very beneficial to maybe come back the next year. Hopefully you didn't hit a huge growth spurt. Yeah. But then you get some new shoes, some new shirts. We send them home with a backpack for school and school supplies. But also while they're there, they really just get to connect with other kids who are going through the same thing that they are. Learning that for the rest of their life, they're going to take medication every day, right? That's a huge thing for a 6-year-old to process. And so our kids go from 6 to 17. Some of them will come to us when they're 6 years old, and they'll go to every camp until they're 17. Others we don't get until they're older, but it becomes a family. And now we have generational return. So we have kids who were campers that have now come back as counselors, and they're helping, everyone who's at camp to just process what's happening. And, as antiretrovirals have gotten better, we're seeing, longevity in life. We have in our office these beautiful pictures that are cutouts of all the kids who have gone to camp over the years. And some of our older counselors that have been doing this for many years come in, and it's sad because they'll point and say, that one's gone, and that one's gone, and that one's gone, and that one's gone, and that one's gone. Oh, this one made it, but that one's gone, and that one's gone. And there's more gone than still here. And so, camp evolves, where before it was just hoping that those kids were going to return the next year. Now we're really lucky. We get, most of the kids to come back, but we explore safe sex and what it means to have your partner take PrEP, and how to disclose your status when kids get old enough that they're dating, and that question comes up. It's a very difficult thing for a 16-year-old, who gets into a relationship with someone, whether you be gay or straight, to disclose. Sure. And the stigma that comes around being HIV positive. So all of those things get wrapped into singing songs around a campfire and climbing the rock wall. And Diana, who writes our grants, one of her favorite stories to tell is about a family who has a couple kids that have gone through camp, and they all learned to swim. And for the first time, they got to swim at camp, and it's one of their favorite memories of growing up is that when they would go to camp every summer, they got the opportunity to swim, and they learned from the counselors how to float on their back and doggy paddle, and so life lessons come out of it as well. But that was where we started, and then grew into this bigger organization.
That's really cool. Now, the organization currently, so you told me some about some of your clients, and what you guys do, but the big day of giving is important.
Huge.
And it helps your organization throughout the year.
Yeah.
$25,000 is a big goal. What was your guys' goal last year?
Last year we raised, we beat our goal, and we raised 21,000.
Okay.
So we always have to push ourselves a little bit more.
Sure.
But we also, just kind of give you an idea, we grew by 87% during COVID.
And what do you mean by
for
grew?
mental health? So our program, the number of people that receive service from us year over year, there was an 87% growth for mental health, and for our case management, we grew by over 40%. So that just shows there's more people needing the services. That,
Right.
In Sacramento, we're fighting this battle that HIV is still an epidemic, that people still need to get tested. And matter of fact, our agency has never, up until I guess I could announce it actually, because we found out on Friday. We haven't told anyone, but we're going to start doing HIV testing and STD testing on site at the end of the summer. So we received our certificate from the state that we're a clinical laboratory now. So that's another service that we're adding, which is a free clinic, walk in Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You can come get tested for HIV, STIs. And because we have a nurse on staff, we can do some testing that other locations can't. Like for syphilis, we can draw blood and do confirmatory testing, and gonorrhea, chlamydia, all those things, which in Sacramento are on a rise. Like, when you look at the nation, Sacramento is like way the heck up there for new infection rates, which is
Is that just in the last year, or is that?
No, it's actually, we don't really know what the last year's impact is like with things opening up.
Sure.
But we have been on the rise, and we're working really hard to stop that. So one of the things that our agency said is, hey, we need to be part of the solving the issue, and so we said let's do this. Let's move into prevention and try to do that work as well. So expanding our services there.
That's really cool. I'm so glad you guys are able to do that, and hopefully with the big day of giving, you'll be able to meet your goal of 25,000. How can people? What can they do if they wanna donate?
Yeah, so Big Day of Giving isn't just about giving cash as well. It's about giving your services or your goods. So you can go to our website, sunburstprojects.org.
And it's below you right now on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And click on the Big Day of Giving sign that pops up. You can give there. In addition, let's say we do have a clothing closet. If you have slightly used items that you think someone else could utilize, clothing like pants and shirts, sweatshirts, those kind of things, you can give our office a call. The number's on the website, and arrange to drop off. We're always looking for donations. And then we have events that we're excited to start doing again. We're going to have things coming back around. We cut off all of our fundraising in person because of COVID.
Right.
Our last event was Vicky Barbalack, which you were part of.
I was.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun, and it was an honor. It was a comedy show that you and Betty Booger hosted.
That's right.
And Melissa McGillicuddy, a really talented local comic, and myself, also a local comedian, got to feature for Vicky Barbalack, who is a famous touring comedian.
Yeah. And she has continued to support us through COVID, and she was hoping to do something last year when she was planning to be back in the area, and unfortunately that wasn't able to happen. But she is in constant contact with us, and she's going to be back in Sacramento hopefully towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year, and she'll do another event for Sunburst.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we'll have some more comedy and Sunburst connection there.
Yeah. Well, I will hopefully be able to help promote that at least.
Yeah, definitely. So give, multiple ways, whether it be through goods, going to our website, making a donation. You can also find our listing on the Big Day of Giving website, which is part of the Sacramento Community Region Fund. And you can pre-schedule your donations now. However, Big Day of Giving is Thursday, May 6th, and that's the day we like to see the little ticker climb. And the goal is to try to beat last year's $12 million donation for the region as a whole. So, but we hope that you'll pick Sunburst out when you think of a place to donate and be part of that. It's really cool because a lot of regions don't have these small one-day giving days. We have Giving Tuesday, which is a global event that happens in December that many nonprofits are part of. But Sacramento Community Region has developed, Big Day of Giving here in Sacramento, and we're lucky as a nonprofit that we get to be part of it. And it's a huge community movement, and it's coming up on Thursday.
Okay, so what do you do to prepare for that?
Come up with a great marketing campaign. So our staff all came together and we shot small, short 30-second videos of them. We've been pushing wherever we can, Sunburst. I'm here today to kind of promote and talk about that, and really to, promote that HIV is still an epidemic, and that, there are 1.2 million people in the United States that are living with HIV, and 1 out of 7 don't know that they're positive. So please get tested if you're sexually active. And that 15,000 people a year still die from AIDS.
And you guys will be, like you just said, you'll be a testing facility at the end of the summer. Currently, if anyone wants to get tested, and I only know this because I've been making a video for them. Yeah. But we're so busy at brunch that it's like, the next week. But people can go to the LGBTQ Center and get tested. They have take-home tests that you can do yourself, or you can get tested right there on site, and you can get your results fast, and then your status. Because, like you said, Jake, it is important for people to know their status.
Absolutely. The CDC says that if you are sexually active, you should be tested at least once a year.
Okay, what if you're not? Just asking.
Get tested.
Asking for myself at this point. Get tested?
Get tested.
Okay.
Why not? Better to know than not, right?
Right.
And let's say you were sexually active last year and you didn't get a test. Well, it's still important.
Sure,
to know.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's important that we continue just to promote sexual health. And when you get an HIV test, you can also do STI tests, and those are important as well. Like I said, in our area, STIs are on the rise, and so we want to do everything we can to have, sexual health be a positive thing.
Yeah, no, sexual health responsibility, really. Yeah. And just in case anyone watching is like, what's an STI? It's a sexually transmitted infection, because the antiquated term STD refers to a sexually transmitted disease, which they're not really. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, those aren't diseases. Those are infections. Right. So STI is the hip term. So take it from me, the queen of all the hip terms.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. So sexual health responsibility. Yeah. Big Day of Giving. You guys do great events. The comedy show was amazing. Yeah. It was so cool to be part of it, and then just to watch Vicky work. And she tours all over the country. So anyone that came really got, I don't want to, I certainly would just between Melissa and Vicky, they got their money's worth, I think.
Hey, what about you? I mean,
well, no, I was there too. And I think I think that was probably the best that I ever had. So it was a lot of fun, and people can come to that event again. And then you and Betty hosting was a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll see. Now you do it.
Yeah. Right. Two big girls on a stage. There you go.
Well, I guess Vicky would say that makes 3.
There you go. Right.
So
yeah, we're keeping it all in the circle. No, Vicky Barbalack, became famous because of America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent.
Yeah, and has a huge following. It was so crazy when she said, she wanted to support us in that. And we started putting it out. We got all these Vicky followers that were people that didn't even know Sunburst, but they found out that she was going to be in town. And it was incredible because then those folks became Sunburst supporters, and many of them still do. I mean, we hear from them, and they're giving and supporting, and they love the work we're doing, and so it was pretty crazy. So we'll have her back because she wants to come
Keep going,
keep supporting, and looking forward to that. We'll have a golf tournament, which will be our first in-person event in October. We're finalizing all the details, and so that'll be coming out. We'll have more details on that on our webpage after Big Day of Giving.
Okay.
But that'll be our first in-person event, and that'll be almost 2 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Vicky show was November
of 19.
Of 19.
Yeah, so it'll be almost 2 years since we've had an in-person event. For a nonprofit who, a ton of our budget comes from events and doing good events, to just be cut off. It was like, cutting our left arm off, and we were very lucky, and we were growing, so our costs were going up, but we were lucky to get some federal funding support and some private donations through grants that allowed us to expand. So but yeah, looking forward to that. The other thing that events do is they allow us to promote testing and prevention, and the education piece that really, clicking on our website, we hope you go read about all that. There's some really interesting stuff, and the statistics around it that are listed on there. But being in front of a person, having a one-on-one conversation with them, connecting with them at an event is a total different opportunity. And so not being able to do that for 2 years has been tough, but we're excited to be back in that realm.
It's really cool, and I don't mean to make this about the show that I was part of, but it's really cool that you got new supporters from a comedy show that were Vicky fans.
Yeah.
Does that factor into how you guys plan events? Which I think golf, by the way, is a brilliant, we're getting out of COVID. We don't want people to be, it's not like you're having like a 5-on-5 basketball tournament, right. Which I would be like, oh, really? That's a choice. That's a choice. Maybe people are too close there. But golf is a sport. It's an event that people can do and they can space. I mean, you want to be spaced from people naturally.
Yeah.
So that's smart. You guys
come in your little pod of 4 and kind of go along. We'll start everyone at a different hole, and they'll be set out. So it's, I think, a brilliant way to ease back into this without bringing 500 people into a big room at a hotel and sitting them all down where we're kind of outside. And I will say that it is a celebrity golf tournament. Celebrity, you take it as what you think that might be, but you'll just have to see and find out.
Well, is Betty Booger involved?
Yeah, well, Betty's on our board of directors, so
right?
Yeah, she has
is she a is she a celebrity?
Oh, I don't know. Betty's my daughter, drag daughter. I don't know if I'd call her a celebrity, but local, at least in her mind, she is, right? Yeah.
Very much in her mind. I would say in mine too.
Yeah.
We might be the only. No, I mean she is in my mind.
Oh,
but
okay.
We might be the only two that think that.
Yeah, well, she does good.
She does a lot of good. She does a lot of good.
Yeah. I love her asking her.
So when do you want to tell people when that's happening in case because events are great ways for people to come and learn more and get a taste for what it would be like to support a charity.
Definitely. So we're still finalizing everything on that. I know it's taking place in October, but the final details, the actual date and that, I don't have totally nailed down. So we will do a big release launch of it, which will happen after Big Day of Giving, sometime hopefully next week. So if you want to know more about Sunburst and all the events we're doing, go to our webpage, sign up for our newsletter. We don't send a ton of emails out, but we do use it to promote the events. It's really crazy because you never know who's been affected by the HIV epidemic, who's lost a friend. So, we'll get a really large donation from someone who we're like, does anyone know this person? No, we don't. And it's a mother who lost a child maybe back in the 80s, and they just found out that we're still around doing work in the industry, and they'll make a donation. And it's so great just to make those connections. And those are the people we still want to tell those stories. The AIDS Memorial Quilt is the largest memorial for HIV in the world. And we're really lucky. We have a couple pieces of it at Sunburst, and it goes to camp every year, and we tell the story about it. Our pieces happen to be children who passed away, but that kind of memorializes where we were and where we've come from. When you're in our office, although it's in a therapeutic setting, there is we talked about the pictures of all of the kids who passed away. We have some really cool poems and songs, the lyrics of folks that were our clients who have passed. And so we try to memorialize and remember where we were and where we're at. And a lot of that has to do with, the advancement in medication.
Sure.
And although it's great that we have so many, because HIV is as a virus replicates so quickly, and it's constantly changing, which has been the biggest issue, that the need for lots of retrovirals is the best thing that we've been able to get out of all of the work that's been done in the last 15 or 20 years. When AZT first came out, it was the only thing, and it worked for some people. We were really lucky, but now that there's I think it's 50 or 60 different antiretrovirals that can be used, and they can create a cocktail, and people are living really long because of that.
And what is a retroviral?
It's the medication that actually causes the HIV not to replicate as fast, and the viral load, which we try to suppress to become undetectable. The CDC says a viral load of 200 per million is undetectable, means it cannot be passed on. And so if you're HIV positive, taking your medication, one, brings your viral load down, so you can't pass HIV on, but it also helps you not to get the comorbidities, the side effects of HIV. You can become blind. We have a client who's in his 20s. He is a paraplegic. He stopped taking his medication. He was prenatally infected, and he got in, I think he was about 16. Stopped taking the medication, didn't want to. He didn't understand, and he was fighting his own battle of, I got this from my mother. For the rest of my life, I'm going to have to do this. I'm just going to stop. And he got very sick, and out of that he became a paraplegic, all because he didn't take his medication. I mean, it's really the central goal of everything we do for our clients, is to keep them medically adherent. And for folks that are struggling with rent or being stably housed or food insecurities, if your focus is on that, you're not going to take your medication. And so we try to remove all those barriers, and then they can focus on being healthy, eating right, having a stable home, and they'll take their medication, and we see it. I mean, it's a direct impact to the work every day that we do. And our clients are required to do blood work every 6 months to be able to get the free services at Sunburst. We collect $0 from any client. We are totally providing free services. There isn't a sliding scale. We charge nothing. We don't bill insurance, so it really is free services for any client that comes there, as long as you meet the requirements, which are 500% below the federal poverty level based on the number of people in your house, and you're HIV positive.
Okay, so that's going to be what percentage of the United States is HIV positive at the moment?
Well, 1.2 million people are positive.
Okay.
So I don't even know what our population in the United States is.
I don't know, but I have the internet here.
Yeah.
Population.
I mean, 35,000 plus people every year become HIV positive.
35,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's still a lot. Just 2 weeks ago, the CDC released a statistic. This blew my mind when I heard it. 50% of every gay man who's African American will become HIV positive.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
So
Half
one of two
gay African American men will become HIV positive in their lifetime.
And with testing and I mean, what can people do beside testing? Because once you test and you know your status,
Use a condom.
Use a condom. That's the best way.
Take PrEP.
PrEP.
So, we work with people who are HIV positive. So we want to make sure that if they're in a relationship and that their partner is not HIV positive, that they're taking PrEP. PrEP works.
The person with HIV is taking PrEP.
The partner to the person who's HIV.
Partner is taking PrEP.
So we call it partner services.
Okay.
So let's say Bob is dating Sally. Bob is HIV positive. Sally's HIV negative. We encourage him to have the conversation to disclose his status to her, and then also to teach her about PrEP, because we know that if you're on PrEP, you can not contract HIV. It's 99.99999% effective, more than a condom.
So that's a couple interesting points. One, it's not just an epidemic in the gay community.
No.
It can affect anybody.
Correct.
You can be born with it, like you said.
Yeah.
You told the story about the one client. You can be in a straight relationship or a heteronormative relationship, and you can contract it from your opposite sex partner.
Mm-hmm.
PrEP is the best way to prevent it if you're dating somebody, but you said it's so hard sometimes for some clients to take medication every day, and I think you didn't say accept it, but it would be hard for them to accept that that's something they have to do every day.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about if I had to, because I try to take fish oil pills every day and I fail.
It's fish oil. It tastes horrible.
The burps when you burp fish oil are disgusting. You're like, I didn't have. I had a fish oil pill. But and I try to take multivitamin, and I forget so many days.
Yeah.
And so even if you want to take the medication, I'm sure it's you can forget. And then what do you do? And I know there's answers to this, and you don't have to answer. But my question is, if it's so difficult to get patients that are HIV positive to take their medication and to remember and to want to, in some cases, it's got to be next to impossible to get partners to, because now you're asking someone that doesn't have it to not make a lifelong commitment, but potentially make a lifelong commitment.
You'd be surprised. So I'm an advocate for PrEP. I've been on PrEP for many years, as has my husband. As gay men, I think it's really important that we, take our sexual health into our hands.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me 10 seconds a day to have security that I am protecting myself, right? We have these conversations with our clients. 10 seconds a day gives you a life of health and happiness. And the thing is that so often it's not taking the pill, it's the other issues in their lives. They're thinking about where are they going to get their next meal from, or they don't have enough to pay their rent, or their cars broke down. We had a client, this always touches my heart. He came to us as a referral, and our nurse was doing a mental health assessment, and she said at the end, "Is there anything I could help you with?" And he said, "I have a flat tire on my car, and I live on a fixed income, and I don't have the money to fix the tire. And I haven't seen my mom, who lives in a retirement community in the foothills, in 2 months. And I used to get to go every Sunday, and that was my hope. Like, I take my medication, I'm healthy, I can go see my mom." And so Sunburst used our emergency assistance program that we fund projects like fixing the car, or someone can't pay their rent, and we paid to have his car fixed. And so he got a new tire. We bought him a spare tire, so he has, in case of an accident, something came. And he got to go back and see his mom. He told us it was the nicest thing anyone has ever done, because he gets his connection, and he's taking his medication, and he's happy, and he's existing and feeling like he's part of society and life again, where he was not able to have that
disconnected.
That really important piece of his week, going and seeing his mom. And he lives on such a fixed income that he just couldn't scrape together enough money to get that tire fixed. So sometimes it's the smallest little things. We about the same time as we were working on getting his fixed, we had a mom come in, 3 little kids. She had a car that was broken down, and she had no way to fix it. And we were able to use our emergency assistance fund to be able to fix her car. And now she's able to get the kids to school. She got to go back to work. She's taking her medication. She has no viral load anymore. We don't always just focus on the medication. We focus on all the other things, though, that may cause the individual to not want to take that medicine, right, because they're focused on other problems or issues in their life.
Not to belittle the discussion we're having, but I'm going to take these ibuprofen because I'm tired and my neck hurts. But it's so easy, right? How is PrEP taken? It's a pill?
PrEP's a pill, Truvada. There's actually a couple generics now that are out there, and you take it once a day. I get up in the morning, I take it with my vitamins.
It was as easy as I just did it.
Just as easy as you did.
And just one?
One.
Because I just swallowed 2 pills.
There you go.
Okay.
1 pill a day. And you can go to your doctor, your primary care, and ask for PrEP. It's been around, I think it's been about 8 years now that it's been out there on the market. And we have a ton of people who are taking it, but not enough. For us, we are always talking about it. Does your partner know you're HIV positive? How do you disclose that? And then how can we protect them? Use a condom always, but also let's get them on PrEP. So one of the other really cool things that Sunburst has been really well known for is our work with pregnant HIV positive mom. In Sacramento County, we have not had an HIV positive baby born in 15 years.
Really?
Yeah, it was just incredible. That is not the statistics nationwide, but in our county, it's been 15 years. As a matter of fact, that last one we have is a client of ours. But because of our work with getting mothers virally suppressed, the great thing is that when you become pregnant in the state of California, you go do your prenatal work, they do an HIV test. Often those mothers that find out that they are HIV positive would make it to Sunburst, and we work with them to teach them that, if you take your medication when you have your child, your baby, if you're virally suppressed, you won't pass that on. We teach them not to breastfeed. HIV can be passed through breast milk. So giving them the education they need. And then we do surveillance. We go to the appointments with the mom and the baby for the first 2 years of their life. We help make sure that, their primary care doctor, is able to have those conversations with them. We act as kind of a liaison, making sure that they feel comfortable having that conversation. And the program has worked really, really well, and we've been very successful. So it's phenomenal. It's been 15 years since we've had a baby who's been born HIV positive.
That is a staggering statistic. That's the case.
Yeah.
And certainly that has to cut into the percentage of Sacramentans or Sacramento County regional residents, because if it's almost like you were fighting a battle on 2 fronts, and you've completely cut off, one of those fronts. Mm-hmm. So now you're able to just focus on sexual health and people that already are HIV positive.
Yeah. And 18 to 24-year-old men having sex with men. Sacramento is one of 40 hotspots in the country for new infections. And we talked about African American community. 1 out of every 2 gay men that are African American will become positive. That is the biggest growing community of new infections in Sacramento County, and there's a lot of work to be done there. Just getting the word out. People all the time tell me, "Oh, I didn't know HIV was still around. I don't hear about it." It's still very much an epidemic 40 years later. I mean, this year was the 40th year that the CDC first, announced that HIV was an issue in the United States 40 years ago. It's not gone.
No, not at all. I mean, 1.2 million, right?
1.2 million people. 1 out of every 7 people who are HIV positive do not know that they are positive. They have not found out. Okay,
so that's the importance of knowing your status.
That's right.
Even if you are old and dusty like me, you should still get tested.
Yes.
And then if I was going to start a new relationship with someone, it would be even more important to get tested at that point to make sure, and both of us, because you want to make sure going into it, because there are things, if one of us was positive, the other one could take PrEP.
Yep.
So it's not even like it's over.
It's not. In the world of HIV today, like we say, because of the medication that we have, and because of PrEP, and because what we know, works, using a condom, people can be in relationships where one person's HIV positive and one's HIV negative and never pass it on. It's one of the, having a viral load that's suppressed is really important, and never giving it to your partner. We often will sit down with couples, the heterosexual couples, and they say, we want to have a kid. And we say, it's absolutely possible. You can have intercourse as an HIV positive mother or father with your partner, as long as they're virally suppressed and the other one's taking PrEP, and become pregnant and have an HIV negative baby and also not become HIV positive. But we like to counsel. We want to make sure that you've done your blood work, that your viral load is suppressed, and that you're healthy, and you're going to the doctors on a regular basis, and you're in care. But there are options out there. That comes up often. And I know earlier we were talking about, HIV is not just a gay man's issue. Right. Heterosexual women is a huge growing group of new infections in the United States as a whole. Yeah.
And how does that happen? Just from irresponsibility, from ignorance of not knowing you have it and passing it along?
Yeah. I mean, and it comes from a lot of it we see is a husband goes out and has an affair, and they come home, they don't get tested, they don't think there's an issue, they're uninformed, and they pass it on to their wife. And we're seeing that happen a lot in the South, specifically in the southern part of the United States. It's a major problem.
Well, I mean, so don't have extramarital affairs.
Yes,
I guess
right.
That would help. I mean, so wear a condom, take PrEP, don't have extramarital affairs.
Yeah.
Or if you are in a relationship like that, be honest, be open, good communication.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that's something you guys do with your mental health wing. I'll say wing.
Yeah.
Is communication. Like you said, teaching people how to disclose this, teaching people how to talk about it is so important. That's part of good communication.
Yeah. Removing the stigma is a major part of what we do every day. When we look at the 80s and then the 90s and now in 2000s, stigma still exists, in every community around HIV. And every day we work for our clients to feel comfortable to be able to give, a true answer about their status. We have some clients who have been HIV positive for 25 years who've never told anyone.
So, question.
Yeah.
And for the viewers that don't know the difference between HIV positive, having AIDS, And what, for a long time, people thought Magic Johnson either was the cure, or maybe he was lying, or maybe he was getting something that wasn't available to other people. So really quick, for anyone that's not in the know that's watching, can you explain where we are in that, and how someone can live with HIV and be positive but not
have full-blown AIDS?
Right. And what is in 2021, what is having AIDS? Is it the death sentence that it was in 1981?
So HIV is basically when the virus gets into your body, you become HIV positive.
Okay.
And then when you have so many HIV viruses in your body at the point where it gets so high, that's when you actually get the AIDS diagnosis. By taking your medication, your viral load can come down. You can go from AIDS to just being HIV positive.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's about eliminating the number of HIV cells that are
the
in
viral
your
load.
body, the viral load.
Right.
Correct. So we say undetectable, meaning anything under 200, a viral load of 200 or less. We see people with a viral load of 20, and the CDC considers anything 200 or less undetectable, meaning it's not transmittable. Undetectable equals untransmittable is a big campaign, a national campaign that many organizations, including ours, promote and support. So HIV, when HIV enters your body, you become HIV positive. Based on the viral load in your body, full-blown AIDS, which you can die from, and most people who die from complications related to HIV, it's because their viral load has gotten so high, the hundreds of thousands, that they have AIDS. They have an AIDS diagnosis, and they pass away from a comorbidity or some side effect of it. It could be heart failure, kidney failure, something of that. But we know, and it's been statistically proven, that if you take your medication, you can get a viral load and become undetectable.
And that's a good thing. It's not like undetectable here is like a sneaky way to go about. Undetectable here means like your viral load is so low that you effectively you're not cured, but you're well treated.
Yeah, there's been some, like there was a patient, I believe, in Mexico a couple years ago that had a full blood transfusion. They took all the blood out of the body and they put fresh blood in, and they said he was cured from HIV.
Oh, okay.
And the CDC, the United States, all the leaders, Dr. Fauci will tell you there is not a cure for HIV. Magic Johnson, I don't know his story, but I'm guessing he probably was undetectable, and that's what they are calling the cure, meaning he couldn't pass it on. He has such little amount of HIV in his body that it's not enough to replicate and pass on to someone else.
Sure. I think, I don't know if anyone actually made a claim that he was cured. I think the confusion was when he first was diagnosed in, I want to say 92 or 3. That was almost like the straight world finding out about it. And so it was very scary, just like it was for the gay community 10 years prior.
Sure.
And then everyone thought you die if you get HIV or AIDS, you die. And then he was positive for it, but then he lived. And then he lived and he lived and he lived. So really, that's just a good example of being on top of it, taking your medication, listening to your doctors, having good communication with your partner, all the things we've talked about.
Yeah.
So he probably just did that.
He did the right things. I mean, he stayed taking his medication. We have clients who were diagnosed in 1981 in the very beginning. And because they were able to stay on their medication, stay in care, right? They were healthy. They had a healthy diet. They worked out, whatever it was that, there are many different things that we can say what can help you if you're HIV positive be healthy. But taking care of yourself, having good mental health, all of those things. And people today can live what we say a very normal life. They can have a 9 to 5. They can be married. They can have children. As long as they take their medication and they keep their viral load under control, they can go on and be successful. I mean, there's some very successful people, Magic Johnson being one of them. And many of our clients, have continued to have a really good life, even though they're HIV positive, because they take their medication, they stay in care. We serve a specific subset of the HIV community, and that is the impoverished or living below the poverty level. And many of them that are receiving services from us have had other things that have come up in their life that haven't allowed them to remain working. Maybe they went for many years without being diagnosed, and then they had some onset of other side effects of being HIV positive they didn't know about. But within that gay community, and I'll just talk the gay community because that's the community I'm in. I have many friends who have been positive for a very, very long time, and they're, you would never know, right?
Right. And it's not. I think it's important to note that it's not your job or my job to out people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know because they're doing all the right things. They're suppressing their viral load.
Yeah. They are able to live the life that they're living, whether they were HIV positive or not. I think that's the important thing. They take their medication, they go on, they have successful careers, they're married, they're traveling, they're doing everything that you would want to do in your life, right? It never stopped them from the change of the path that they were on when they become HIV positive. They probably have worked through that process, though. Accepting your diagnosis is a huge part of what you go through, especially, getting tested and finding out you have a positive test and getting into care. But that is what agencies like Sunburst does. We help folks with that.
Okay. So to recap everything and to summate, Sunburst Projects exists to help families with children with HIV or AIDS. It is a full-on charity, which means there is no private funding. And people can support the charity by just donating. They can go to the page. The big day of giving is Thursday, May 6th.
Yes.
And you guys do fun events, and people can come to that and support and kind of be a little more interactive and have a little more fun than just sending a check, which is fine if that's their style. Send a big check. No one's mad about that.
Not at all.
A golf tournament in October.
There'll be more details coming out about that.
Okay.
And
more comedy with
Vicky
Barbalack
Barbalack and yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Other local comedians that we can get to be involved. As COVID subsides and we come back out in the world, we'll be doing more events, and you can always find out about those by going to our website, sunburstprojects.org, signing up for our newsletter. Check out the website. We're always updating, making updates, and as well as if you need to get tested for HIV or an STI, visit our website. We partner, with all of the county partners that do free HIV testing. You mentioned the center being one of those, Harm Reduction Services, another HIV service organization, Golden Rule Services. I mean, just to name a few, Planned Parenthood. Any of those places, the most important thing is please get tested if you're sexually active.
Yeah.
Or if you have been at any point in your life, go get a test.
It's a cheek swab.
Yeah.
It's not even invasive. It's not a blood draw.
That's right.
I think that was the most interesting thing I learned. And actually, the center right now, if you get tested, you're entered into a raffle for a PS5.
Nice.
So it's like you get tested, you know your status. It's a cheek swab. It's very easy, which is easier than a COVID test.
Yeah.
They're also doing that at the center.
Yes.
Go weekly. But cheek swab, and you might win a PS5. and you know your status, which honestly is probably better than a PS5
Yeah.
if you think about it.
It's powerful.
It is. It's very powerful. One last question, and I'm just curious. Do you have people who, because you serve the impoverished community, do you have people who aren't impoverished that are HIV positive that are maybe more fortunate that I would say certainly you might know people, but don't name them. But
Sure.
do you have people who are in a position where they can donate to the charity?
Yes, and we're very lucky. We receive a lot of support from within our community, especially with Camp Sunburst. We see people make a connection to us in different ways. We talked about parents who've lost a kid or a relative, but we see many HIV positive individuals, gay or straight, that donate to us on a regular basis because they believe in what we're doing. They're living what we're working with, right? And they're lucky that they're able to give, and when they give, they think about us, and we're truly grateful for that. That's
so cool. All right, I have kept you for a long time. We don't have to talk about the because you are a drag queen.
Yeah,
you are a performer. You were in the court system. We've talked about the court system on the show. So if anyone is watching, we've had on Ben Flicker. We had Taryn through you on, of course.
Okay.
We talked about the court system a little bit. So did you want to, because this is actually something, it's a through line with, this is now the 53rd episode of my show.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We missed it, Jesse. We're over a year old. I know you did something for Stab. I missed my own. Jesse's been doing stuff the entire pandemic. It's amazing, the voice he gives to artists.
Right on.
But so the through line is artists who just want now.
Yeah.
I didn't work. I didn't put any. I think I deserve it, so I should get it. Do you want a nutshell answer that? Because I know you could probably talk for hours about that.
Well, I'm a charity queen. I've always said that I do drag for charity. I'm lucky to have an incredible career. Obviously, I work for Sunburst. It pays my bills. And I have not done drag in over a year. I kind of stepped off the scene to make room for those folks that do drag for a living, that are artists in that aspect, so they could have the limelight. Really, I come out and I put a face on when I can do something for charity. That's really what it is about for me. It was why I became an empress. Growing up on a cattle ranch in Little Grass Valley, I was taught, however you can give, please give. And it was what I brought into my drag. And I spent a lot of time as a little nobody. I still am a little nobody, I think. But, in Sacramento, people know who Precious Cargo is. I'm always amazed when someone finds out who I am, because I haven't been doing a lot of drag lately, and they go, "Oh my gosh, I remember so and so," and they tell about this show that they were at that I was performing in at the Crocker or somewhere here in Sacramento. But I think with anything, you get out of college, you're not getting the CEO job, you work your way up to it, right? Yeah, new girl, you got to work through it. I'm a little old school, though. I will say that. I've been doing drag for a long time. But you only get closer to perfection. I mean, I don't know if there's anything that's perfect, but we can work towards it.
Sure.
By spending time. Practice your craft. Get really good at it. And then go out and share it, right? My drag mom, Christina Taylor, here in Sacramento. When I first started doing drag, she made me sit in front of the mirror and practice facial expressions before I ever went on a stage, right? Wow. I remember doing Bette Midler under the boardwalk for hours. She made me sit and make funny faces and what does this mean and how does this, and really know. It's not just throwing a wig on and getting on stage if you want to be a really good queen. Work at your craft. It's just like a comedian. You practice, right? You're always thinking. You're always trying to improve. So to think because you can put a dress on and you know how to throw your eyebrows on and you got a pair of heels that you should be on a stage getting paid. I really believe that there is some truth to being good at your craft, spending time getting there, giving the light to the people who have done that, and then at some point when you do get there, someday you step off and you let the next person come in. It's what I did, so I'm totally about that. Learn what you're doing, be good at it. I mean, my pet peeve when I go to a drag show is to see someone come on stage, and I will admit that I'm pretty picky because I've been around and I've seen quite a few.
Well, you're a bartender who's gone to another bar for drinks. You know how the sausage is made. I think you've earned the pickiness here. But
yeah,
go on.
And I've seen some queens that have been doing it a very long time, and I think it's time to get off the stage and let the next one on as well on the other end of it.
Well, now I want to know if you'll name names.
No one here.
No. I'm teasing. Yeah.
But and I just think that
Helen.
Everyone has a cycle in their life, right? Oh, Helen.
No, I'm teasing. Helen's great.
We love Helen.
Yeah,
Helen's fabulous. If you're entertaining audience and people come and they're excited, then you should be there.
Mm-hmm.
But also bring a quality product. And that's the bottom line. And you can't bring a quality product just throwing a wig on, stepping out of your door. Watch, observe, learn, figure out your craft, be really good at it, move the audience, whether you're doing a dance number or you're doing a ballad, practice, right? And do some practice before you get in front of anyone. My husband is a fairly young drag queen, and he is.
And by that, just in case anyone's watching that doesn't, he's of age. He's your age.
Yes.
He's just in drag terms. He's
young.
Started. Yeah. He's relatively fresh to the art of drag.
And he hates performing, which I think is funny.
I am aware.
He only likes doing drag because he said he got tired of carrying my suitcase, and so he was going to put heels on himself. And he is a professional makeup artist. He's a hairdresser by trade. So he had a lot of these skills that he needed to make his persona. As a drag mother, like Betty Booger being my drag daughter, she has made herself. I've just tried to help her perfect it, right? I think that's our job. She does not look like me. I don't look like her. We have different makeup. We have different styles. She's still my daughter. I've helped give her advice and make it better, make her craft better, right? Same thing with my husband, or Robin Cargo, my other drag daughter, who's my husband. It's a crazy world we live
drag
in, right?
Gets weird sometimes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
His face doesn't look like mine doesn't look like his. We wear different wigs. As a seamstress, I make all my own gowns. I was lucky to have a grandmother who was a very talented seamstress, and she felt it was really important to teach us, all of us grandkids. I use that talent every time I make a dress.
Fascinating how that played into your life.
Right.
She might not and you wonder, did she know? Did she not? Was she a sage?
Well, my grandmother she's fairly religious, not very accepting, and
curious choice to teach you.
Yeah,
so much.
Like we learned I remember making a pair of swim shorts when I was very young, and when we graduated high school, we made suit jackets. All of my cousins or the girls made dresses. We learned. She felt it was really important to pass that talent on. I probably use it more than any of my cousins, as I make hundreds of gowns.
You do?
I've made, easily. Just Betty Booger alone, her whole closet.
Oh, see, now that's something that I you don't know this, but like I'm not even close to saving yet.
Yeah.
I have debts I have to pay off, but then I want to save because I've seen your work and it's amazing.
Well, thank you. It's something I've worked really hard to get really good at. It's about making the male body feminine, and how do you do that? And I think you can go buy a pattern at a store and bring it home and make a dress. But chances are it's probably not going to fit you, because women's bodies are very different than men's bodies. You know, some of the things I've learned is the torso in a men's body is always about 3 inches longer than the torso of a female body when you're talking about the waist and where dresses are supposed to hit you. So you have to extend your patterns, and I draft most of mine from scratch. I don't use pre-purchased patterns, because I've realized that to make it fit the best on our bodies, you got to alter it so much that it's easier just to start from scratch. But that's all part of my process as a drag queen.
Sure. I mean, and that's an interesting point, because some, you know, I've had so many drag queens on, and some make their own clothes, some have their clothes made. Some drag queens shop at Forever 21.
They're lucky.
And they are. They're very, very lucky. But having a nice gown is not something you can get at Forever 21.
No.
So learning, and certainly I can't sit here and pretend that I had the same journey as you, which is interesting that your drag mother was, I don't want to say strict, but certainly seemed to have principles before you went out even to perform the first time. But with your drag daughter, Betty Booger, you're not as strict. And I can't say that, you know, I've done a lot of learning on the job, but it's not it's all been on my dime, my time, and I don't ask people for things. Yeah, so I think that's another important thing, is if you want to learn on the job, make your own job.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. You know?
My drag mom came from really old school. She was from the Midwest, and she was part of the Miss Gay America pageants.
Where in the Midwest?
St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, she learned a different craft than's taught today. And she passed it on. Now, I inherited Betty. Betty was actually a drag queen before I became her drag mom. I wasn't the first person to put her in drag. Some people say that your drag mom is that first person that paints you. Some people say it's the person that helps perfect you or teaches you. For Betty,
I think it could be either.
Now with my husband, I was the first person really to put him in drag. So I think you can do either or as well.
Right.
You know, my drag mom was not the first person who put me in drag. Actually, queen who's passed away, Miss Kitty, she was pretty well known here in Sacramento, and a phenomenal dancer. She was a big girl, but boy, she could dance a stage off like no one else. She actually was the person who put me in drag the first time. So, but she always said she was my drag. She was
fairy godmother,
drag mother, right? But Chris really is the person who perfected me and taught me the craft.
Yeah, and I think that's. I think, like I said, I think either one personally. I think either person could be. It's a relationship, but and we've talked about this on the show, pretty in depth with some guests. It's between you and that queen or king, if you have a drag father, your drag family. I've been very open about how parasitically worm-like I've wormed my way into my drag family, except for my drag mom, who very similarly to you, more similar paint style, because I was taught, but someone to me this is what a drag mom is to me, someone who doesn't care about getting anything back. They know you have something in your head and they want to help you get it out for whatever reason. Benevolence is bestowed upon you, and so they help you kind of get this out of you. And sometimes that's teaching you how to do your makeup. Sometimes someone comes prefabricated like Betty, which is interesting. That's what a similarity between you and Taryn, because her drag daughter Helen came prefabricated as well. You guys aren't working with, putty.
Yeah, no. And Taryn and I are we're very close. We've been doing this a long time. We're also totally different queens, right?
Yeah.
They always say that, she's a crazy one. She's always in the front. She loves the stage. I love to perform, but I also have been known as the Republican housewife for a very long time. I sell good real estate and insurance. I love a good bob and a pantsuit, which is not Taryn at all.
No.
I've made clothes for Taryn, and we've traveled all over this country together. And that's a great thing I love about drag is everyone has their own style.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their own persona, yet we all can come together and put on an incredible show or do an incredible event from our own standpoint.
Which is key to have your own. We talked about this, and you know Deja Sky.
Yeah.
We talked about this last week. Have your own thing.
Yeah.
Don't try to be, because recently someone said to me, "Oh, I'm just like Mercury Rising." Well, first of all, no one is.
Yeah.
Like
No one's that crazy.
no one should be, and no one ever will be. And
Yeah.
God bless her. Like we all love her.
Absolutely.
I am not picking on Mercury, but no one is Mercury. No one will be. So why are you going to give me 25% of Mercury? Why are you going to give me Merc Riz, like, which is her handle actually?
Yeah.
But don't give me that. I want 100% Mercury. Be 100% you, because you're not going to ever be 100% her. So I'm never going to. Why would I book a lesser her?
Yeah.
So
It's that individual look, feel, persona that makes us all different. And when we come together, makes a really cool product. Right?
absolutely, I think that's the best kind of show.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want 4 ballad queens who have beautiful gowns and great hair and lots of jewelry standing in front of me on the show. That is really boring.
That's why we've done a show together, because I've never served that, not
Right.
once.
And just being unique. I can understand if someone says, I love Mercury's product, who she is. I like her off the cuff. I love her uniqueness in that sense. And I'm going to try to be something like that. But
Yes.
make your own product.
Yes.
Have a story, right? I have always said my story is I am a Southern housewife who's a Republican. I'm not really, but who sells real estate.
That is the character of Precious Cargo.
That absolutely is, right. The People's Empress. That was something I created, and it sold who I was. And people now know, when they know that I'm going to come out and do a show, you probably could, kind of pinpoint, okay, what it's going to be like, what kind of stage presence I'm going to have. It's very different than Taryn. It's very different than you, Mercury,
Apple,
and,
Helen,
all of them. Betty, we may have similar outfits on, but totally different. There's no ink on my body, yet she's fully covered.
No, you are very different from Betty. What an
Right?
interesting sell to the gay community, a Republican housewife.
Yeah. Well, it's part of where I grew up. I grew up, on a ranch in the country around a lot of Republicans, and I ran away from it. And
you ran right to it.
But I ran right to it, and you have to kind of keep a little bit of where you come from with you.
A little bit of truth.
Yeah. So it's just who and what I've created as a character. People ask me all the time, is drag a sexual thing? For me, it's not. For some people, it is.
Right.
But
I think that's the minority, I'm going to say, because
most likely, yeah.
at least in terms of the art form, and I compared the two a lot, obviously, because I have a 6-inch stiletto in each world. Comedy is an umbrella term.
Yeah.
Right? And not every comedian. Are 95% of comedians straight white men making observational jokes and puns? Yes. Yeah. But there's 5% of everybody else. And are 95% of drag queens, big hair, sequin gown, doing ballads?
Yeah.
Maybe at this point, probably not. But at one point, yes. Yeah. But it's not a sexual thing in nature.
No.
For some people it is. But so is for some people going thrift shopping.
Yeah. I have got to experience some incredible people who drag is a sexual thing for them. I've known a few empresses in my time in traveling who were straight men who dressed in drag, and it was a sexual thing for them. However, they even put that aside to become an empress, to raise money for charity. You know what? I am proud of you for being yourself, is what I've always, kind of said. And whatever it means for you is the best that it can be. And for me, it just happens not to be. It happens to be a character, and I play the character up. It's part of who Precious Cargo is. Other people, it's just what they want to be or naturally they are. For me, it happens to really be character driven, which is probably why my drag mom made me spend a lot of time perfecting that, thinking about that. I mean, some people who do drag for a very long time, if you were to ask them, what is your character? They would say, oh, I'm just so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, well, what is that so-and-so? And they wouldn't have an idea, right? For me, I had to build a story around it. I had to sell it. I was selling a product. I was a Republican housewife who sold insurance and real estate. And that's why I always wear a stiletto, you know, and that's why you'll find me in a lot of pantsuits, and my gowns and dresses are always below the knee, and a lot of bobs. You know, it was just what I created. That was the character that I wanted to have, and whether you do that or not, it's just another subset of the community.
Sure, right. Umbrella term drag, and then it, you know, if we're doing a flow chart, it certainly branches out.
Yeah.
Because this is something I was talking with Deja about. Is some queens? She actually was talking about this, and I was sitting here just in awe of her, because I hadn't met her until that day. But some queens have a character. Some queens are themselves. Yeah. And neither is right. Mm-hmm. For you, character. Yeah. And I think it works certainly. Yeah. But it is important for anyone watching that being you, selling you, that's where the ticket is. Whether you're yourself or you're a character. Yeah. The important thing is to be, and you touched on something else that I wanted to say that I always preach on this show so much. I don't want to, like, I do brunch with, I mean, you were part of Makeup and Mimosas when we started, so it was always icons and me. It was, you know, and now it's Apple and Helen and Taryn every week, and we have a guest and me. And my goal is never to be the next Taryn. It's never to be the next Apple or the next Helen. It's what can I do that they do, but how can I be Suzette and do that? Yeah. How can I? What's the Suzette Veneti version of what I see Taryn doing, of what I see Apple and Helen doing? That's always been my thing, and I don't want to copy. I want to glean, and I want to adapt. Yeah. And then create my own. So I think you touched right on that. Yeah. I could talk to you about this for so much more. I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions. Okay. Because I want to not keep Jesse hostage and not keep you hostage as well. Sure. But I think we're having, this has been fun. And sometime you'll have to come on in drag. All right. If you ever want. Yeah, definitely. People at home are probably like frantically Instagramming. Okay. Here we go. You can answer fast if you like. All right. Favorite LGBTQ activist?
Sister Roma.
Oh, she's wonderful. Favorite item on the gay agenda?
Marriage.
And you know what? I left out all the drag queen because I have drag queen questions. Okay. I left them out because I didn't know we were going to talk about drag. Hey, but when you come back, yeah. Marriage. What do you think? Which do you think the COVID-19 pandemic has affected more, the straight dating scene or the gay dating scene?
Is there a gay dating scene?
Favorite sex position?
Any?
Same. And then get tested.
Yeah,
that's know your status. Favorite thing about the existence of brunch?
Mimosas.
Do you cook or bake?
Bake.
Okay. DC or Marvel?
DC.
Oh, who?
Any.
Really? Okay. All right. Someone is buying us shots at the bar. What are we shooting?
Tequila.
Oh, what kind?
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe.
Not cheap.
Maybe I'll join you.
Don't come out of the well.
Yeah. No. Someone's buying us drinks. What are we drinking?
Makers and ginger.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Important question. Toilet paper over or under?
Under.
Okay. That's a weird choice, but I like you still.
It's closer to the wall.
Why is that good?
Don't know.
It's very Republican sounding.
I think about it.
Very
right?
Republican. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a favorite comedian?
You.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You make me laugh. That's the important thing, right?
It's a struggle sometimes, not to make you laugh, but just going through learning how to be a comedian. But thank you. I'm humbled by that. Do you have a favorite drag queen?
Mama Jose.
And that is the original court initiator.
Right. Incredible person.
Do you have a favorite drag king?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, pass.
Sure. I was gonna ask favorite drag princess, but you already said me, so I don't need the ego. I don't need the ego bump. Let's see. When we're in a pandemic, we're getting out a little bit, but when it's completely over and we have a new normal, what are you most looking forward to?
Making connections with new people.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think
I miss that.
We're closer.
Yeah.
That is all the questions I have. Jake Bradley-Rowe,
right.
thank you so much for coming on. Precious cargo. I can say that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I think probably we're good. We'll bump Shapiro. Get out of. Okay, cool. We usually interview David. Unless you want to. We usually interview David Shapiro as well. I don't know if you want to. Do you have time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll bring him on. Sometimes I bump him when we've gone long, but we'll bring him on. He is a comedian, producer, whatever he's failing at the moment. David Shapiro. Hello, David. Are you there?
Hey, Suzette. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, right on. I just flexing as I've left Sacramento
Yes.
and I've come to this
Don't come back.
lovely desert oasis where there's a pool.
Mm.
And I just wanted to come where there was a pool.
Yes.
I wanted to apologize for last week. I seemed really rude to your guest Deja Sky.
Oh,
and I didn't mean
yes.
to. I had a bad connection and I was just playfully being mean to you.
Yes.
But I didn't mean to actually be mean to her. And I never mean to be mean to you. Some people think it's real. It's not. I think you're pretty decent at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not gonna gas you up, with unnecessary like compliments and stuff. But you're all right. You're more than just a nice set of teeth.
I am. Nice teeth.
I wanted to say hi to Jake. I think everything. Hi, Jake.
Hey.
I think everything that Sunburst does is really great, and I think it's awesome, and I support them. So good stuff. Having Sunburst in today to talk about the big day of giving. I think that's important, right? Like I think it's important for people to know about charities that they might want to support but might not know about. What else is going on? I will tune in and watch you and all the other queens tomorrow on Who Wrote This Shit. I'm excited to watch you compete. You got a lot of talent on that show, and a lot of I think everyone on everyone that's going to be on the show has been on your show, so all your viewers should know everybody.
They
if
should.
they comprehensively watch your show.
Which they should.
Yeah. So anyhow, I just wanted to check in here from the desert. Visiting my parents. Visiting my parents. Yeah. So doing that.
Having fun?
In Arizona, in the middle of nowhere. It's called Surprise, which is silly because it makes me laugh because everything is the surprise this or the surprise. Sacramento has the Sacramento police and the Sacramento this and the Sacramento grocery store, right? So in Surprise,
There's
it's
not a
the
Sacramento
surprise
grocery
police
store.
and the surprise crematorium, and that's funny because it's like surprise police.
Okay.
Surprise funeral home. That's just funny to me. But yeah, let's give a view of the desert. Here we go. So there's a embankment, which is really or a wall. It's a wall. It's really killing the view. But there's a nice sunset. Yeah. And cactus. People decorate out here with cactus. A really cool thing about out here is no one has lawn. Lots of rocks, right? Lots of rocks.
Why is that
Everyone
cool?
has rocks.
Yeah, sure.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff online now that American lawns are the most watered crop in the country. And I agree that's kind of stupid. If you have I have a dog, you have a dog, maybe a little backyard, but we don't need these huge expansive lawns. Also it's weird to me that people kill weeds so their lawn can grow. Like maybe the weeds belong there. I don't know. Maybe weeds aren't so bad. Yeah. Anyhow, just wanted to check in while out of town. All your other cool contributors and guests do that, and so I wanted to do that.
You're not cool though.
And yeah, how are you doing?
I'm okay. A little tired. You know, doing what I can. Oh,
right on.
You're tired too.
Cool. Good to hear from you.
You too.
Good, or I guess good to be on your show and get to talk to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That it?
There's a comedy club down here. You should check it out. Stand Up Live.
Oh, okay.
They also have Rainbow stores. I know you enjoy Rainbow.
I do. I like Rainbow.
There, so you should
in
shop
addition to
there.
Forever 21.
You know, if you're
The
ever
close
down
fit.
here for a show, it's like right by the club. Bing, bang, boom. Airport Club, Rainbow. Do it all in one pop. So
Okay.
yeah. So that's right outside Phoenix. Yeah, I got nothing else. I don't know. Did you watch the Not State of the Union?
I did.
Yeah, I watched that with my mom while I was here. So yeah, you know. Anyhow, won't see you in person this week, but
Nope.
you know, stay well, be well.
I will.
Be good.
You too.
Okay, cool. Well, I will talk to you later. Take care.
You too. Bye, David. Okay, David Shapiro, everybody. That is the end of the show. We're going to be back next week on Mother's Day. You'll be here? Okay, cool. We'll be back on Mother's Day on May 9th. So tune in 5:03 for the Suzette Veneti show. I want to thank Clifton. I want to thank Chelsea. I want to thank Jake Bradley-Rowe. Thank you so much for being here. Talk about Sunburst. Want to thank Jesse and Stab. And that's the show, everybody. Oh, David Shapiro. That's the show, though. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Give on the big day of giving. Give to Sunburst Projects. Know your status. Get tested. Have a good week.
The city's your playground. I watch you take a bite. At 5 a.m. roaming the streets, drunk all night. You think you're hot shit, and oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. Stumbling, but yeah, you're still looking hella fun. Keep doing what you're doing, I'ma make you mine. Hot mess, and I'm falling for you. And I'm like, hot damn, let me make you my boo. Shake it, shake it, shake it, yeah, you know what to do. Where can you find pleasure? Search the world for treasure. Learn science, technology. Where can you begin to make your dreams all come true? On the land or on the sea? Where can you learn to fly, play, explore, so skin dive, study oceanography? Sign up for the Big Band or sit in the grandstand when your team another